Good morning, book lovers of the internet. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am Book Nerd 802, and this is the 500th public video on my channel. I made some tea to celebrate, I suppose, but also because in this video I am going to be reviewing the first book in the Monk and Robot series by Becky Chambers. The first book is called A Psalm for the Wild Built. I will put the cover somewhere on the screen. It's an absolutely delightful cover to look at, very, very aesthetically pleasing. I was lucky enough to find a copy of the Monk and Robot series. It is a duology at the moment. In paperback, it's also very, very floppy paperback, which is something that I can totally appreciate, by the way, from the Llandudno, Wales Waterstones outlet. And what makes this even better is that my father paid for it. So if you're watching, thank you so much for buying me this book. I had a lovely time reading it. And as I probably will mention anyway, this one consists of a psalm for the wild built and a prayer for the crown shy. Hopefully, there will be other books in this series because if they are all as good as the first one, then I am going to have a blast reading this series and anything else by Becky Chambers, to be honest. I finished reading this one just a couple of minutes ago and it genuinely put me in such a good mood. I was very skeptical of my enjoyment of this read at first, considering how the protagonist, Dex, goes by they them pronouns, which have always confused and irritated me, on a grammatical level especially. Nothing that is too politically incorrect in that regard. After finishing the first book in the series, I can safely say that I am desensitized and much more open minded as far as gender neutral pronouns go. I can't say that I really find much of an issue with them anymore. 150 pages of them being used frequently does that to a person basically. So yeah, this one does have 150 pages, a very quick read overall, just 8 relatively long chapters. I rated it a 5 out of 5 stars, by the way. And honestly, at one point, the main character, Dex, um, became a staunch follower of Andrew Tate, considering how they were one with the phrase, "My unmatched perspicacity coupled with sheer indefatigability makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor." That is a phrase which Andrew Tate often uses and quotes his father when he does so. More on that later, by the way. So, yeah, this was a very gentle and sweet read, which reminded me of the Wild Robot series by Peter Brown, but perhaps for an older audience, considering that there is some bad language used here and there, very, very sparingly, however, nothing to frighten off any readers, I would say. It revolves around this person, referred to as Sibling Dex, who is a tea monk. He goes about their life making tea for people who share their troubles with them. They become fantastic at what they do, however, they realize that something is still missing and not allowing for their life to feel complete. Every morning they wake up feeling hollow, basically. Apologies if I use the incorrect pronouns, not that it's going to make any difference, but I am trying to follow the they them pronoun thing. Dex goes on a journey to find a hermitage um, in this place called Heart's Brow, and on their way meets with a robot called Moscap, who is curious with regard to how humans are faring after the robots gained consciousness and left society for good. They just realized that they had their own autonomy, they upped and they left society for good, and now Moscap tried to find purpose by learning how humans were faring without the robots in their lives. So, rather thought provoking despite its simplistic nature. And the main message is that people can enjoy their lives without needing to have anything expected of them. And one does not necessarily need a purpose to fully embrace life's beauty. And the way nature ties into this is just the cherry on the cake, basically. Many people seem to go about their lives thinking that if they don't do something, then they will never achieve happiness. That is not the case. It's all about living in the moment, trying to make the best out of the situation you find yourself in, out of the context you are placed in. And yeah, I suppose that is the main message this book is trying to convey. And it did tend to become rather philosophical at times, and honestly, it just reverberated with me um, quite well. Um, I could find moments where I related quite a lot. So, one does not necessarily need a purpose to fully embrace life's beauty, and yeah, I never really thought that 150 pages of a robot and a human being chatting about life, its purpose, and its challenges would make for such a good read. In fact, I look forward to reading the second book in the series, which is called A Prayer for the Crown Shy. You can see the cover at the back over there. Also, a very lovely cover. I will be reviewing the book in the next couple of days, probably at another 150 pages of literary perfection, I would say. And I am curious with regard to whether or not there is going to be a third book. Becky Chambers, the author, hasn't really said anything um, about whether there will be another installment in the series or not. So, pretty much the definition of it's the journey rather than the destination. If I had to describe this using just one phrase, it's very calm and kind, and honestly a good model to follow with regard to how to treat fellow human beings. And it's true that everyone goes through difficult moments, but it's how such moments are dealt with that define a person. And it's also fine to cry at some points. Honestly, Moscap is also very exemplary with regard to how to treat other um, how to treat people. Considering he's a robot, he does get people quite well. He does take very good care of Dex, and there is a lovely bond between the two of them, considering that Dex didn't want Moscap to help him at all towards the beginning, and then they developed a friendship together, which is extremely wholesome as well. um, we all have our limits, I suppose, which is why it's fine to cry at some points. I mean, it doesn't mean you're um, a vulnerable person. It just means that you are going through moments of vulnerability, which is absolutely fine. And um, anybody could relate to those moments. It's better to just deal with them um, right there and then, I suppose, um, by being emotional and then clearing your head and think about things logically. After doing so, I suppose different people have different ways of dealing with traumatic situations or overwhelming situations. Um, and yeah, crying is definitely not a problem. I am definitely a believer of that sort of thing, that anybody should cry, basically, because things might get too complicated at some points, too overwhelming. And the mountain that they climbed was not an easy climb at all, and sleeping in a cave was no better. I can completely understand how Dex would be overwhelmed by that extremely difficult journey, considering how quickly their life changed from one of peace to one of peace still, but at the same time a lot of um, change. So yeah, they completely changed their routine, and they put themselves out of their comfort zone, both the robot and Dex, I suppose. Dex more so than the robot. So I would have showered in the rain, to be extremely honest with you, because it just feels like the right thing to do, especially after a long day of traveling. You're all sweaty, you're all disgusting. Just feels like the right thing to do. So, yeah, I think that is all I had to say about Monk and Robot, the first book, A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. Take a look at the rest of my content because why not? It's absolutely amazing. And I will see you in the next one, hopefully, very, very soon. Thank you for watching. Do let me know what you thought of this book if you have read it in the comment section. And I'll see you in the next one, hopefully, very, very soon. Bye, guys.